morning, everyone, or afternoon. I'm setting my timer here. Jim didn't give me a time, and so I want to stay safe. Put myself on the clock, right? Thanks for having me here, guys. Really appreciate it. It's good to be here. Beautiful country. I love it. I'm here often. Mr. Lovejoy knows if there's nothing happening in Toronto, I jump ship and I come right over, because for me it's about staying in the fire, staying warm. I don't like being detached for too long. Jim did say I'm a published author. I have my first book. It's called Order It, and it literally speaks to how we direct the course of our lives by our choice of words. Literally what we say is what we get. If you get up, I have 5 children, my 6 and 7-year-old are here, and they get up in the morning. If they come to me and they say, Mom, they used to come and say, Mom, I'm tired, and I go, is that what you want? And they go, no, I need more sleep, or I need more rest. So that's now where they're at. So now when they get up, they go, Mom, I need more rest, or I need more sleep, because that's the choice of words. Whatever you put out, that's what you're actually getting more of. Just like going to Starbucks. You place an order, 1 small coffee, double. That's what they hand to you, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So, Jim, thank you, Jim, for that lovely introduction. Not sure, I was looking outside. Did you see me run out trying to find that girl you was talking about? But palmonia, to make it easy, I say pal like friend, monia like pneumonia, but I'm nicer. That's the best breakdown for it. And yes, I am a mom of 5. I did 23 years at the post office. After having my 5th child, I realized with the changes, this wasn't going to work anymore as a mom. And I went into the plant to sort the mail, and I picked up my bag one morning, and literally the term going postal made sense. And I knew something had to give. Lucky enough, somebody said to me, if I invite you to a presentation, will you come? And even this ties in well with the story of B.E.L.I.V.E, because I also believe that when God has something and has destined and ordained something for you, it is for you and it will come to you. Yes. And when I went to that meeting the first night, I sat there, didn't hear much of the presentation. I kept saying, thank you, Lord, for a second chance. Yeah. Because I'm not even sure if the person, my sponsor, knows that 16 years before, I was moving, I think 3 years ago, and I found a cassette tape with the flyer and an elastic band around it that somebody had given me 16 years ago about Legal Shield. Wow. I had the service because I had used it for the toll route, and they wrote, I even found a letter that they wrote in 2002 or something, but I didn't listen to the cassette. And I believe 7 years ago I visited my mom in Florida. We had the Purple Perfect Storm, and her neighbor handed me one. Again, didn't listen to it. My brother from New York, he didn't. But then I think that's why God said, okay, you know, I gotta sit this one's butt down in a seat for her to get it. And when God wants to bring us to where we need to be, He'll make us uncomfortable. Yes. Because when you're uncomfortable, now you're looking for everything, just like with, you know, taxi drivers. Now Uber come along, I'm sure their services has improved greatly. Whereas before, you know, you were just a fare. Right. Now this is a precious fare. You know, let me say hi, let me take a little time, let me offer a little courtesy, which before wasn't really given. It was just roll you out and keep rolling. So with that, like I said, thank you, Lord, for a second chance. I'm really honored to be here. Thank you, Jim, for inviting me. Thank you, Mr. Lovejoy. Thank you for everyone that's here. And I'm really passionate about believing, because once you read my book, you'll understand that it's been a journey. We all have a story. We all have a journey. And for many of us, without faith, we wouldn't still be standing here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So with that, I'm going to get started. I have a question for everyone in the room. Who in here wanted to be a superhero when they were growing up? Oh my goodness. Okay, why didn't you? Someone probably said, you can't. That's not real. Get a real job.
I couldn't fit in the tights.
Or she couldn't fit in the tights or something of that nature. Now, the thing is, when we get up in the morning, all those superheroes believe they had the ability to change or help someone. It's even Batman. Batman, technically, he has absolutely no, he just wears a cape. But he believes that even if it's a burning building, I have the ability to go in there, rescue someone, bring them back out safely. And that's what makes it, that is the magic to any and everything that we do, including our business here at the Legal Shield. How many parents are in the room? All right. Now, when you have a child that's sick or has a toy that's broken and you fix it, and they throw their arms around you and shower you with love, what does that feel like?
Great.
It's like, you're a superhero. Mom, you're the best. Right? And you're floating. That's superhero. Superheroes, because they believe that, there's nothing that mom or dad cannot do. At the end of the day, with or without a cape, guess what? We're all superheroes. If we believe that we have the ability to change someone's life, to make a difference to someone, that makes us superheroes. We don't have to have the cape. We don't have to have the fancy car. Just to get up every day and believe in that, you know what, today I'm going to make a difference to someone's day. Just by saying hi. Just by sharing a smile. Just with the thought or the saying that you give them. Children, they're small, they're a sponge. They absorb everything that we say. I remember I was listening to something once, and I lost the thought, the thing, and I go, comparison is what? And my daughter go, the thief of all joy. So I am creating this atmosphere that she's believing. You may think they're not listening, they're not hearing, but you're building those cells of recognition. And that's what makes, when we talk about doing personal development, what that is doing is recreating the system and the belief and the garment that has been placed on us when we were growing up. A baby is born naked, but it has the ability to open its mouth and ask for whatever it wants and gets it. It's going to cry. You're either going to feed it. If it's not food, it's going to keep crying. You're going to change a diaper. If it's not the diaper, it's going to keep crying. You might give it a bath. If it's not the bath, it's going to keep crying. You may hug, but when it gets what it wants, it calms down. As children, mom, can I have this? Mom, can I have this? Mom, can I? Mom. Okay. They don't question, where is this going to come from? How is it going to happen? But as they grow, and mom goes, I don't know, I'll see if I can afford it. So then they become, Mom, if you can afford this, may I have it? So that faith of believing that I can have everything that I want has now shifted. And I think we're at this space now where we need to recreate that atmosphere of saying, you know what? If this is what I want, I don't see why not. So with that, belief, B. B stands for before. Before means time not yet come, unknown or to come. So before anything comes or happens, we have to first believe. Before this meeting took place, we had to believe that we're going to have a Super Saturday on this date, because we planned it, we organized it, and until we all got here this morning, the meeting didn't happen, but we believed that we were going to have a meeting. So before anything happens, we have to first believe. E, everything. Big, small, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have children. I am a platinum executive. This room, how many walls back here? We're going to knock this wall all the way back, or just move to a hotel that already has the room space. Believe every thought, every idea, every imagination, anything that you can think of. Before it comes to us, we have to first believe that it's possible. And then L, before everything lives, before it has life, before it comes to life, before it's made real, before it takes form, before it becomes tangible so we can see, taste, or touch it, before everything lives, we have to use I, your imagination. Your imagination is your creative self, your creative mind that sees what's not yet there. You have to project into the unknown. How did this building get here? Somebody probably passed a couple of times. Man, this land would look great with a hotel right here. And then they went out and they created something. Oh, yes. How does Walmart and Starbucks keep popping up all over? Even when we think there's no more space. You see cranes and I'm like, oh my God, they actually got houses to fit in there. Sure. Somebody passed sees it and they use their imagination. So first, before everything lives, we have to I imagine. And then E stands for employ, which means we have to do a little bit of work. Employ means to work. How many of us here has ever gotten a job and never had to work? I mean, some government employees for the first 2 hours. Maybe. But we have to do some sort of work, whether it's put in a blueprint, put it in the activity, even just the consistency of believing is work. Les Brown has a saying, says, the thing that you don't want to do, once you stop doing what you want to do, what you don't want to do automatically takes over. So if I don't want to maintain this body and I stop going for a walk or eating properly, what's going to happen? What I don't want is going to take over. Right? So I have to focus on doing what it is that I want to maintain. So even the effort of believing is to create what it is you want, the consistency. So we have to use our imagination before everything lives. We have to use our imagination, and V, which is my favorite, we have to be visionaries. Visionary sees it as it can be, not what it is right now. Now I'd love for us to close our eyes and just imagine this room. You're walking down the hallway. You hear the sound of soft music. You come into the room and it's well decorated. There's a beautiful chandelier hanging from the ceiling. There's a smell of flowers, roses. There's tea light flickering. There's soft music playing in the background. As soon as you enter, someone hands you a glass of champagne. The bubbles are floating in the glass. It's so cool. Now take a sip. Did you see that? Tastes refreshing, right? How many of us, did we all see that room? Yes. You all felt it? Yeah. Visionary. Now someone else would have looked in this room and go, oh my God, this room's so dumb. But a visionary looks in and sees the possibility, see the potential. And that's one of the magic we have here in our business at Legal Shield. We have leaders, we have visionaries, or CEO, or general managers, or RMs, just the other associate that beside you. Just people who believe and have a vision. And it's important that we stay connected with like-minded people. And we share that vision so that if I'm getting a little bit tired, if anyone knows the story of Moses in the Bible, when there was the battle and Moses had to keep his hand up, and when he got tired, what happened? Every time his hand went down, they lost. But then when Miriam and the brother came along, what is his name? Memory lapse just now. Aaron and Miriam came along, and they could hold his hand up. They kept winning. And that's what we have here. We have a family that's here to keep our hand up. We have a family that believes in us. One of the most powerful message I ever got was from Mr. Darnell self. I mean, I had one of those, not really a quitting day, but really close. And I messaged him, and he goes, you know what? Activity rules the day, but then he said 4 words. I believe in you. I believe in you. And that is something we all have here. Oftentimes when I watch Mr. Carruthers, I've described him this way. I said, if he could split our heads and put in that information, he would. Because it's like, oh my God, you guys don't get this. I am living this. This is for you as well. So we have to believe, okay? And then we get to E. So we did B, which is before. E, everything. L, lives. We have to use I, imagination. And then we had E, employ. V, visionary. And now E, exploit. Exploit means to get into action. It was great we saw this property, and we think it would look good for a hotel, and we got the blueprint done, and we roll it up and put it in a box in the shelf. So we have to get into action. We have to get into action of doing the activity. So in order to derive the benefit from our faith, what's our daily requirement? Let's talk to people. Let's say hi. Let's make new friends. Let's make a difference to someone's day. My question is, what does each of us in here believe? Mr. Lovejoy says, you know what? $5,000 to $10,000. Do you believe you can make that $5,000 to $10,000? Do you know what I believe? I know that the $5,000 to $10,000 there is waiting. You just have to go get it. It's there. Do you believe you can be a platinum executive? Oh, I know. I tell people, I says, I'm a platinum executive. Corporate just hasn't officially announced it yet. So you have to believe that. You have to hold it. You have to see yourself just as when you close your eyes and you saw the room as I described it. Don't get up and go, oh my God, it's just Palmonia today. Oh my God, it's Palmonia, the platinum this morning. What would a platinum executive do? Get to work. Believe. Reach out. Do the activity. How am I doing my time, Mr. Jim?
You're fine. You're doing great.
Now, a little bit about my story. Actually, not. My dad stole me from my mom when I was 1 year old, 1 year of age. When he was about 12, one of my uncles passed, and he thought he was going to die, so he made me. I had no idea at the time that the mom that I had wasn't my mom. So he made me write this letter. Oh, come get the pen, write me a letter. And then he was making me write a letter to my mom, letting me know where I was going to school and stuff like that. That was when I was 12. So at 12 years old, I found out that my mom wasn't my mom, and I had a new mom, new brothers. So now I end up moving from 7 brothers and sisters, so now I have a total of 14 brothers and sisters, because that's a combination. My experiences in that 12-year window, if I didn't believe, if I wasn't determined, if I wasn't persistent, I wouldn't still be here. I got up every day believing that, you know what, there's more. I got up every day believing that tomorrow's going to be different. As a mom, honestly, when I delivered mail, I used to go to bed at night feeling like, oh my God, that's it. That's it. I'm not going to wake up. And I got up the next morning and I was energized and I was ready to go. My nephew came to visit me from and he says, oh my God, Auntie P, you wake up like a bullet. The alarm goes off and I'm out the bed and I just keep going. Because I believe. I believe. As a matter of fact, which I could have done a clip, but my house represents who I am. On my ceiling when I wake up in the morning, on the roof, I have it written 3 times. I believe, I believe, I believe. That's the first thing I say when I open my eyes. And then whatever my beliefs are. When you walk into my bathroom, I have it on the roof again. I believe, and it's in my kitchen on the roof. I believe, I believe, I believe. I remember the one point I wrote something and I was going to stick it in the bathroom and my son go, Mom, there's no room. Because now they're fighting. But I'm putting it in them as much. Because I bought the story of go to work, get a good education, get a good job, work for, right? After 23 years of delivering mail, tear in this shoulder, knees going, my feet my doctor says every complaint that has to do with feet that he knows of, I have. But I believe. My mind would not let me accept that was it. The blessing and the promise that God had for Joseph is still for us today. And he wants to honor that. But we have to believe. It's not hard. That's the biggest part. That's our biggest challenge today, is actually believing, one, that we deserve it. Because once you believe that you deserve it, that's half your battle right there. I think that was the G.I. Joe slogan, or believing is half the battle, or knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. Once we believe, everything changes. You walk differently, you stand differently, you smile differently. What's his name? Mr. Mike Miller was in our market recently. He goes, when he just got started, he said he would walk around like this, and people would say, why? He says, I think I'm gonna be rich. Because he would just walk. He said, no, people would ask, what? No, I can't tell you. He goes, what? No, I can't tell you. He said he would literally have people beg, come on, because he'd walk around, oh my God. What? He said, I think I'm going to be rich. He believed. How much does he make now? $600K a year? Yeah. $600,000 a year. He believed. I have some cards here that I'm going to give each of us. Sorry, my assistant was not good. She was supposed to have this in her hand.
Are they on the table here?
Here?
These are the ones over here.
Oh, here.
Is this?
This stuff?
No, these ones.
Oh.
I'm going to give each of us. Yeah.
I believe you won't fire your assistant because you know that I'm still competent.
Oh, no. I wouldn't fire because God has you here for a purpose. There's somebody that you're going to touch that I'll never meet.
That's right.
I want us to take a minute. I have one of these that I put in my bag on my book. Do you know how I got to write in this book? I on the way to Oklahoma in March, I read my blueprint, which just as how the building has a blueprint, I encourage you to write your blueprint of your life. I wrote my blueprint. It's the last chapter in my book, so you can make sure you get a copy. So when you see me later, oh my God, it did happen, because it is happening right now. And I read it to the ladies as we're driving. They go, oh my God, you wrote that? You've got to put that in a book. I'm like, really? So I came home and I got one of these cards, and I wrote 5 things I wanted to accomplish for between March 21st it was and the end of the year. 2 yet hasn't happened, but almost like clockwork. The next week I saw one of them was the third one was I wanted to have $250,000 in my possession by June 1st. No, by July 1st. The 4th was I wanted to, having gone through divorce and all that sort of stuff, I had moved out of the house. I wanted to get back into a home. And then the 5th was to be a best-selling author. Saw someone advertising that a friend that I know had published a book. Got in touch with her. Next thing I know, I'm talking to an editor. Next thing I knew, I had to write a book. But what was weird, even though I wrote the card March 21st, I wrote that I wanted the book to be published by June 1st. Got in touch with the editor. She goes, you know what? We just may have to push the date back a little bit. We pushed the date back, and in that time, I actually won the free trip to Atlantis, Bahamas, went with my 5 kids, we had fun, came back on June 29th. They actually delivered me my box of books. And when I came back from Atlantis, I believe it was on the 6th or before I went to Atlantis, the day before, I was speaking to an associate, Angela, and I looked on my vision. I don't have a vision board, I have a vision wall. It started as a board, but it's not my wall. And I looked up and I said to her, oh, I have to go to the bank, because I had written myself a check for $100,000, and it was dated June 6, 2016, so a year later, June 6, I needed to cash it. So I said to her, I gotta go to the bank. I wrote myself a check and I have to go check. Went to the bank, there was nothing, but it was okay. The next day, I was leaving for my trip, which we did, had a great time. Came home on the 11th or 12th, and my sister came and she, suddenly, you have a check, can I borrow $1,000? I got up, and when I opened that check, it was a $76,000, but the date on the check was June 6th. When I checked my accounts around the June 6th, the amount came in for what I had written on my card. Because at this time, I was parting company with the post office, so they said, you know what, it's okay, we'll reward you a little bit. But that's the power of when you believe. And this card, I keep in mind, and I read it as often as I can. If I'm at the traffic, as a matter of fact, I have one in my bag, one in the bathroom, and one in my car. So if I'm at the traffic light and it's red, I pull it out and I read it. I will do this, I will have this. That's what I've been doing, because I'm conditioning my mind. It's almost like, I'm right, God, remember me? Remember me? Remember me? Remember, why did the widow and the unjust judge got what she wanted? She kept coming back. The judge says, listen, man, I don't fear this guy, but this lady gonna tire me out. Let me just give her what she wants, so at least I have some peace. But she believed, I'm gonna get what I want. I don't care who's gonna do it. That's what I want. Vindicate me, get me some justice. So I've given you a card, and I'd love for you to write. You can put one thing if you want, or two, but what would you want to have more than anything right now, between now and the end of the year? Write it on the card. And then you're going to keep that card with you, and you're going to read it. You're going to remind yourself. When you look at it, see yourself living or doing what it is that you have there. Is it a huge team? Is it moving to the next level? Is it protecting one more family? Someone is out there praying. Praying. Help me. We all have that superpower. We all have that ability. This book, I've told people, when we're trying to do the pricing, oh, and speaking of the price, my autograph is $20. The book is free, but I'll throw my autograph in for $10 with the book. So that's my tagline. But when we were doing the pricing, I said to someone, it's not about me selling the book per se. How many Bibles do we publish a year that we give away for free? Why? Because we believe that what's in that will make a difference and have an impact. And that's how I feel. I believe that order it will become a universal language. When someone says, you know what, this is a Rico, order it. Because the ultimate order taker, forgive me, that's not correct, I'm sorry. Our daddy that loves us more than anything else has never stopped being there for his favorite child.
Amen.
And he is more hurt when we don't come to him and we go off and try to do it on our own. And sometimes he watches. And what hurts me is that sometimes as Christians we say, well, God knows what's in my heart. But he says out of your mouth. That's what he honors. Death and life lies where?
In the word.
Power of your tongue. So we have to be very mindful of what we speak. Even if you don't have physical cash in your pocket and you don't have it in the bank, I have enough money to buy whatever I want. I just don't know if I want to